Michaela Fuss, here in BMW World, Munich. Great to meet you. We've obviously been working together for some time now in terms of retail experience. You head up retail experience for BMW, the premium retail experience. You know, what we wanted to go through today a little bit is just a conversation about the fact of what does the future of retail look like.
Oh yes, it's a nice topic, talking about experience or retail experience. And here, in fact, it goes a lot beyond automotive alone. I mean, this is, in all industries, we're trying to find what the correct experience is. And for automotive, there's a plus on coming on challenges which are not the experience itself, but time is changing, zeitgeist is changing. Is the car important in 10, 20 years? What is mobility going to look like in 10, 20 years? Autonomous driving, so a lot of things coming into us, and I mean, what is it going to look like? The interesting fact is that until then, we still have to transport something which is in fact the premium retail experience for BMW. So it's a highly interesting topic that has nothing to do with the product itself, which goes beyond that.
Yeah, and I guess that experience is something that it's individual. As much as you select a car as being your individual experience, and I guess also with the number of variants that BMW has available, the challenge is, I guess, is bringing that experience in a quick fashion, but in a special fashion to those particular customers.
Yeah, that's true. And in fact, the time changes in the sense that for experience, we have trends coming in, we have new technology coming in, and if you look on our products take quite a while until they, from the idea and the first scratch to being on the road. So we have two different, how shall I say, timelines in which we try to work with. Now for the experience part, definitely it goes quicker. We try to follow certain trends. We should not follow every trend. Sometimes we can even create trends and be the ones you go to because of this trend. But naturally it has to be balanced, and to find what is the correct and right experience is not that easy, even though certain things might seem to be very easy.
Yeah, and I suppose the challenge there is the interpretation of that experience. You know, we've been working together with a concept in terms of our AXiO platform in terms of lighting, but lighting was one part of the experience, not the whole experience. And through the connected lighting, we were able to bring an experience in a slightly different way, with some audio, with some positioning, that type of thing. And I think it's exciting from a consumer perspective, so even an individual consumer, that actually these things can be tailored to your individual needs to bring that sort of value beyond the product, as you say, compared to just having a sort of same approach in terms of that retail experience.
Yes, no, it's good that you mentioned it. In fact, the experience is something that we're looking at is the five senses, and it is not about the product. And this is what we are learning, that the product itself, yes, it's still our main focus. But the customers today, they want to have more than just the product. So they want to be entertained, they want to learn something, they want to experience something. I personally think that experience is the new status symbol. So people in fact like to share what they have experienced. There are certain nuances where you have a different perception, and to find and balance them is, I think, the big challenge, and to get them into a showroom, which until now was a big hall with lots of cars, and now how do you create atmosphere which is appropriate to each of the corners, niches and areas.
And I suppose the territories as well, because obviously, as a global business, showrooms globally, different demographics, different requirements, different cultures, and again, tailoring that experience has got to be something that's, you want it to be dynamic, you want it to be refreshed, and you don't necessarily want to feel the same experience, but as you say, in some cases you do, so you have that consistency. Within your lab experience, you can see that you're bringing together a multitude of digital elements that together combine into a unique experience. And do you see this sort of digital world, whether it's connected lighting, whether it's beacons, whether it's the display, the multimedia event of the whole experience, do you see something that's something that's going to be more intuitive as the future rolls out for BMW?
I think it has to be more intuitive. I mean, we 10 years ago we learned to use an iPhone, and let's say with the iPhone, the smartphone, which you just, with one finger swap, you do everything. And someone coming into our retail, if we take the physical retail, is expecting that it is as easy as his smartphone and as convenient as his smartphone. And that's where we need to find what is the right digital answer to accommodate our customer, our client and guest coming in. So the challenge is, how do we link the human being, who today is partly human but still has his device, which is part of him, into our world and make it as easy as possible. So when entering, he might be already recognized because he has a certain device with him, or his device with him, without giving him the impression of Big Brother, we know everything about you. So even here we have to balance.
And I suppose the personalisation of that makes it feel a little bit, it's not so much Big Brother, because that the ability to target that personalised experience, whether it's through their smartphone, through the beacons, through the whole connected world that they've been enjoying, is something that they'll find unique to themselves. So as you look at the future and as you look at that sort of retail world, lots of things going on in the retail world. We're talking about connected lighting, you have augmented reality, and of course you have this whole sort of online version of a digital experience and a brick version of the digital experience. As you bring those two things together, so you have this omni-channel experience as a showroom, do you see the showrooms potentially becoming larger, becoming smaller, the design being more targeted? How do you see that going forward?
Well, I personally think that we will definitely not speak about outlets or dealers anymore, but it's spaces.
Spaces, yeah.
And a space can be virtual and can be physical. I don't think that the size really matters in that case. It's a matter of intensity of experiences that you can have.
Right.
And as a customer, we would like to get what we are asking for independently of size and location. So this is where we need to be omni-channel, definitely, so that the customer that approaches us can omni-channel-wise reach us. I think that the physical space is going to be more phygital. So we have to offer digital things in the physical world. And interesting will be, how do we get the digital experience in a certain way physical. So it's merging these two things, but in a way that are coherent, and which, if I compare it now to something physical, is a ball, so it's round and complete.
And do you see that the experience for the people as they go through this omni-channel experience with BMW, that they're almost in their own sort of little miniature bubble, that experience is in their bubble, that it's tailored very much to their needs, to what they see as a sort of a value beyond, let's say, the product, as you said earlier?
Definitely. I mean, it has to go beyond the product. And this holds true for all the industry, so it's not only automotive. There's something more about your brand that we customers would like to experience. So definitely we have to go out of just thinking about the product. It's the services, the convenience that you get, which is then perhaps connected to a product or to a brand.
How do you see the sort of the design feature from a BMW perspective, to sort of say, how do you get that to link together the concept of the architecture of a building and also the experience within? Because obviously that is a dynamic. Do you think that's just zones that will provide that, or is it a journey through us, almost like a BMW experience as you go through that sort of showroom?
I think that there are two things. Taking up the last part of your question, I think we should not try to push customers into something that we design as to be a process. In fact, I do criticize that many industries, they come and design the process of selling from how to sell something. This is a pure inside-out perspective. It would be interesting to design the process according to the customer. If I want to buy something, it's a buying process. At the end, it comes to the same, but the way of seeing it, how do you approach it, and how do you set up the processes are different. So it's not my journey as a brand's journey, it's the journey of the customer. So we should not push him into that. Regarding the architecture, this is quite a challenge. Architecture for us until now is quite stiff. It's there and you can't move it. So we need to find flexible architecture in a certain way. And I think that even architects, and what I saw so far and talking to architects, they see the same challenge, that buildings that are built for hundreds of years, they need to be open to disruptions. What can help us in architecture is in fact a bit the things around it. Here's where light comes in. With light you can make a space look much bigger or smaller. You can create atmosphere which is perhaps more frightening or more engaging, more enthusing. You can use other materials, so it's about what you put into the shell that gets
interesting.
interesting.
That flexibility, like you say as well, that the capability to be able to control the lighting, to set different moods through the day. So, and I suppose, like you say, that the vigour of an M car is probably different to an I car in terms of what and the lighting and how you want to portray that. So, having controllability of the lighting is critical. How you're going to present that to the customer, and whether it's through the connected lighting, through their smartphone, for them to enjoy that as well. But that flexibility has to be something that, with a design of a car that may take sort of, from, like you say, from scratch to sort of like production 7 years, that car isn't going to disappear then for a number of years after that. Yeah.
Okay, but I think that's the strength of a good design, that it's still good, and I think BMW makes an excellent job on that one. Nonetheless, in presenting that car is interesting, and when you present it, is standing there. And in fact, I mean, the work we did together, and you showed us in our showcase, how do you get some emotions connected to a car which is just purely standing, that with light you can make it move or look like as if it's moving. So these are the things that I think the customers are asking, to have a little bit of more of just the product. And
So if we think about, we're obviously talking a little bit from our experience and working together. We're working on the connected lighting, our AXiO platform, and all powered by GUI, which allows us that sort of enablement of data. But when you look forward and you sort of think, well, you can have the geo-positioning, you can have the beacon enhancement for the push messages, you even have benefits of lighting performance, so you have in the control, the maintenance, all the things that are all valuable in their own individual right to deliver a complete experience. So if you sort of look forward 7 years from now and you sort of think, well, what is the Michaela Fuchs sort of dream sort of concept of a retail experience sort of 7 years forward?
I think, in 7 years, there's going to be the iPhone 27, I don't know. I can't really imagine what's going to be in 7 years. I mean, so many things have changed in the last 10 that just seeing everything goes quicker. But definitely what I do see is that I don't see phones anymore in 10 years. I presume that we could just talk and say, I need a taxi to go. No, I would not even have to tell that I need to go to a certain place, because whoever I'm talking to gets the information, understands Michaela needs to be moved from A to B, and I know this is the location, and then I just get a message, a short blink saying, taxi will be there in 10 minutes. Oh no, taxi. Self-driving car is standing there and bringing you. So. With IoT, with the technology running that quick, it is anticipated. So the services are going to be much different than today. And we don't need that much the physicality of something where we put some information into it. So the transparency, which is quite frightening of human being.
I suppose the insights are critical though, aren't they, to sort of get that experience,
I mean, if you just take the invention of, or the what Amazon did, this anticipated sending out some products, because I know that in 2 minutes' time you're going to think about something that you might need.
And I think it's making sure that, I suppose, that doesn't become a gimmick in its own right. We don't lose the fact of our individual choices are still respected, our privacy is still respected, and it's in our control. And I think that's the interesting thing you guys are doing from the lab perspective, is that it's requiring feedback in order to make it better, and therefore to get those insights, you're able to store that information, you're able to look at what worked and what didn't work, and then adjust the flexibility and then the dynamics of that space to give this amazing experience to the person going through that let's say not showroom, but actually just an experience.
Yeah. Well, I think that in fact the importance of a lab is that digitality today is difficult to understand for everyone. So what is it exactly? How does it feel? And you can't just talk about it. So you need to experience it. And the good thing is with the lab, in fact, as you say, we can test it. How does it feel? What do you perceive when doing certain things, or just standing in front of something? What happens?
Like the engine noise is too loud and it scares people.
The engine noise that scares people. Or am I recognized, and what happens then? So to experience it on your own body, to understand, okay, this is happening, and then to work on it to make it more smoother, more natural, instead of having something that said, I didn't want that, what am I going to do with it? So trying to evolve together with the zeitgeist and with the change of the human beings, and how should it look and feel.
You know, what we see is that, you know, we love working with you in the lab, because the thing is that you are testing, you are trialing, you have such a pragmatic way of making sure that each step is almost well proven out. It's not a sort of a hit shot trial. It's really about, there is a future here somewhere, and the vision seems to be very well driven. So what drives this vision for you, Michaela? Is it something that you feel that it's the experience must change? Is it something you have a personal passion from yourself? What drives this awesome work you're doing in the lab to sort of give this new experience?
Well, for me, it's definitely the passion for experience, and I'm knowing or being myself a person who is more driven by feelings and emotions than by pure, let's say, ratio. I think that the world, in fact, is a lot about experience and about emotions. Our brand is about emotion. BMW is passion. BMW is the power of emotion. And I think that in this case, bringing these two things together, apart from the product, yes, the product is definitely, you see it, you just hear it, and you're passionate. But there's more than that. And I think that to transport these elements into how we try to, now I say the word, sell cars or our product, or to bring over our brand, has to be passionate. And I like to understand where can we go. What I like is understanding human being from a psychological side. There are so many things that we know about human beings, which perhaps we cannot count and weight, although we can do this today much better than we could 10 years ago. But still, it's not mathematics. But we know exactly what we can do. And you, when you use your light, I mean, I've seen in your showcase, do you show meat in that light or another light? It looks completely different, but it's the same product. So you can create something and stimulate someone in doing something or not doing something, and it's proven, it works. And they're small things. And that's where I have a passion to find out what is the right mix. If you then bring in also the cultural aspect, because in fact, things that we invent here in Munich mustn't be right for the rest of the world, although there's a certain common basis. But perhaps the scent of lemon is something that we Europeans like. I don't know how it is in South Africa, how it is in Australia, if they would perhaps prefer something different. But it is proven that the scent has an impact. So that's what is driving me to continue trying. And there's a certain, how say, curiosity. And I think somewhere I read it, if you stop being curious, you're dead. And I think that's also the nice thing about children, always asking why, isn't there something?
Absolutely.
So all these things together is a bit where I feel well in a lab.
So, Michaela Fuss, Head of Premium Retail for BMW, thank you so much for spending time with me and with us and sharing mostly your insights. You know, we talk about that end to end. You sharing your insights it's powerful for me to understand, you know, what is the direction and where is it going, and you know, we're proud to work with you, and we're looking forward to the next step and the next step and the next step. And I'm sure everybody watching this video is going to enjoy the words and the vision that you shared in terms of your personal experience, and also how you feel the world will feel in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.